If you're a numpty and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're a numpty and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're a numpty and you know it, and you really want to show it, if you're numpty and you know it, stomp your feet.
Kill! Kill! Oh my God! Oh my God! Kill! 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 Yes! Kill! Kill! A WTF! A WTF!
Hello, I am The Ross from thecultaholic.com, and can you smell what I'm cooking? Of course you can. It's original curry pot noodle. It's that bastard time of it once again, where I take a look at all of the WTF moments from a WWE Raw where a Superstar Shake-Up took place. Call the IRS, Roman Reigns hasn't filed his taxes. Of course he hasn't, he's a bloody dog. He licks his own bowels to make them clean, for Christ's sake. What are you expecting from him, man? So this is Kurt Angle's first Superstar Shake-Up. He knows the pressure's on. He's been in negotiations with Pagey Wagey for the entire week, trying to get the cream of the crop over to WWE Raw. He knows the pressure is on, especially after WrestleMania 33, where he castrated Mrs. Lady Balls herself, who is now waiting in the wings with her castration knife, wait to castrate him back, so she can give Kurt Angle's scrotum to a little doggy mastiff called Andre to use as a chew toy. Kurt knows he has to knock it out of the park. Kurt knows he has to get it right just to save his bollocks. And who does he decide to show off first? Forget about the WWE Network sales in India technically making this make sense. It was the genital wart of SmackDown Live himself, Jinder McBastin Mahal. Now, Kurt, I'm not sure if you heard, nobody likes old saggy nips. And all I've got to say to you there, pal, is Paige has rinsed you. Ha ha ha! I can't believe I got away with that, she would have said. And next up we have Kurt Angle claiming that he and Jinder never agreed that a limousine would get the modern day Maharaja to every single episode of Raw. And let me tell you, when you ride in a limousine like that, I find it hard to believe that the pair didn't thrash it out in the contracts. Ooh, thrash it out, brother. So just in case you missed it, Kurt Angle's personal email address is kurt.angle@nofreakingway.com. Now personally, I've never heard of that email provided before, but it certainly looks like Kurt Angle will be getting a fifth eye. Intensity, integrity, intelligence, interracial to produce Jason Jordan, and finally infected, which his email account and computer will now be. Kurt Angle, you simply don't give your personal email address out when the entire world is watching. If you don't mind next week giving your bank account details out, I'll appreciate them greatly. Devon, eat the noodles. And next up we have Jonathan Coachman claiming that he loved it when Kurt Angle told Jinder Mahal, if you're going to be a champion on WWE Raw, you're going to have to defend your title, even though I don't think he did. Choice words those, weren't they, Coachman, when you consider that Alexa Bliss defended her title twice in the many months before WrestleMania 34, and Brock Lesnar has enjoyed more ballet classes than he has Universal Championship defenses. Jinder, you keep that title and you sit on your saggy arse, pal, and we'll do nothing about it. Here's a direct quote from Corey Graves. The growth and evolution of Jinder Mahal has been absolutely mind-blowing. You can say that again, Corey, pal. Woof. Classic Jeff Hardy. Can we check the identification of the short fella with a horrible soul patch on commentary on last night's Raw? Because the fact he didn't say vintage leads me to believe that he isn't who we think he is. Jeff Hardy has scream masks for ears. And sticking with our acid tab fetishist, Jeff Hardy is the new United States champion, which I guess is a WTF moment, so she's never held the belt before. Whatever the weather, his ears were losing their bananas over this. Ah! Who's we like? Cause I don't. Maggle, 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 maggle. And next up we have a moment where Michael Cole thought he was bigging up Miz TV when in fact he was only putting his degree in stating the bleeding obvious from the University of Numpties to good use. Michael claims that the Miz has promised a superstar will turn up from SmackDown Live who will change the landscape of Monday Night Raw. Now surely any SmackDown superstar appearing on Monday Night Raw would do that, since they are a SmackDown superstar appearing on Monday Night Raw. They're like a fish up a tree or a Mackem in the Premier League. They're bloody lost. All of them. And next up we have Jinder Mahal and Corey Graves for that matter, but we're going to focus on Jinder Mahal here because he's got saggy nipples, who claimed that he wasn't ready for last night's opening bout against Jeff Hardy for the United States Championship, even though he came out dressed in poo brown tights and with baby oil from head to the bottom of his nipples, which of course stretch further than his toes. Jinder, we've seen you cut bare racist promos on SmackDown Live where you wore a lovely suit. You weren't dressed in your gear then, so you weren't expected to wrestle. But last night you came out dressed in some brown speedos with your body oiled up from head to your bottom of your nipples. What were you expecting to do, pal? Porn?
Twaddle Ross is boss. Twaddle Ross is boss. Twaddle Ross
And he had a stiffy all the way down to London. Oh, of course, Kevin Dunn playing No Way Jose's music far too early so we couldn't hear Jinder Mahal tell more pork pies. It's time for a meme when you work in a call centre from 9 to 5 but you do the graps upon the evenings. Why on earth is No Way Jose wearing a shirt that looks like it costs no more than £3 from George at Asda? How are they going to do that if you don't provide a number, you numpty? Mago, 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 mago. And Michael Cole claiming that Sasha Banks and Bayley came to Raw at the exact same time is just another example of WWE rewriting their history when they absolutely don't have to. As we all know, Sasha Banks debuted on Raw in July of 2015 while Bayley arrived at the arse end of 2016. That's over a year, Michael. That's like 15 if you convert the age of a 1-year-old big dog into human years, Maggle. That's something you'll understand. Now, Corey Graves, of course, Sasha Banks cares about more people than Sasha Banks. What about a biological father? WWE Hall of Famer Eddie Guerrero. And what about the nation of her people? Japan, she loves them all. Jesus Christ, Sasha Banks and Bayley thought they were Minoru Suzuki and Tomohiro Ishii for a second. They were slapping the piss out of each other, and it was bloody fantastic. But then the Riott Squad appeared, meaning that Kurt Angle's first two picks in the 2018 Superstar Shake-Up were Jinder Mahal, who nobody likes, and the Riott Squad, who in terms of wins and losses have not been very good on SmackDown Live. Even though I think Ruby Riott will be the dog's bollocks very soon indeed, it's still not a very good start, is it, Kurt? Lady Balls herself is sharpening her castration knife just like you polish your bloody medals and your cock. Aye, enough of those pissing words on screen, Kevin, for Christ's sake. Mago, 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 mago. Michael Cole, the authors of a pain. The authors of a pain. When did you return Italiano? And why won't you call yourself a Mario? How funny would it be if you opened Raw by saying, hey, it's a Mario? And just as Kevin and Sami made their own WTF moment by return to Raw after completely losing their jabs last week on Raw, Michael Cole decided to make a big old hoo-ha how he can't draft people to Raw or SmackDown who are out of work 7 days after that big bastard Bobby Lashley returned to WWE after being out of work for a very long time. Now, if this is a special rule for the Superstar Shake-Up of 2018, I do apologise, but this was never made clear at the start of the show. Therefore, I believe that Michael Cole is talking absolute bollocks, because he normally does. Michael, I hear that TNA are hiring no, so please go and sit next to Josh Matthews so all the knobheads are behind one table at one time. And then failing to realise he's absolutely Pete Tong about all of this, Michael went on to say that Kevin and Sami are not employed by WWE, yet since the last time we saw the pair, they've had a shiny new Titantron made for them. How would they have one of those made up if they didn't work for the company, Michael? WWE, make me a brand new Titantron. I clearly deserve one since I've never worked for you. God, he's cute, isn't he? Look at Kevin Owens being an Avenger. And speaking of Avengers, Lord avenge me, as we have the horrible, awkward noise an arena full of people made when the Miz called Paige a wannabe movie star as a joke, completely went over everybody's heads. Now, as we all know, Paige was in that Christmas movie with The Miz. She was also in a Scooby-Doo film. She was also in Surf's Up 2. The Miz was definitely not referencing that movie. If Paige was stood next to me right now, she would undoubtedly be saying, think about it. So Lady Balls hates her dad. And that's weird because last time I checked, he does not sell Avon. As we learned last night, Stephanie Mutt, Lady Balls herself, brought back Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn from the wilderness over Kurt Angle's baldy heat. Even though, as we all know, Kevin Owens almost killed her father on SmackDown Live last autumn, and Sami Zayn has shafted Shane McMahon more times than... Although, of course, who wouldn't enjoy seeing that done to Shane? But Stephanie, have some respect, man. You wouldn't even have Lady Balls if you didn't come out of Vince McMahon's. What on earth are these words coming out of my mouth? So all WWE pay-per-views are co-branded now, and WWE decided to announce this by having the superstars sing a horrible cringe-worthy song. I cringed harder than when I initially saw the Manchester City video in the intro to this video. I swear to God, though, WWE, if every single one of these co-branded pay-per-views is going to be 4 hours, I will scream. Divin Testis, I'll scream. And now it's time for this.
Wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank.
So as we all know by now, wankety wank is a section of WTF moments that is just like blankety blank on blankety blank. You fill in the blanks, but in wankety wank, a sexual wank pheasant tweets me with a WTF moment I have missed from an episode of Raw, SmackDown or a pay-per-view, and I give him all the credit because I'm a lovely, wholesome boy. Me mum told us. And thank you today to Rachel Moon, who pointed out a grave mistake that you can see somewhere around here. Ember, who must be Rachel's sister quite clearly since her second name is Moon, debuted in the wrestling ring in 2007. That's a long time ago. And Kurt's nights of picking up dog crap continue when he drafted Breezango, or the Fashion Police, or whatever the hell they're called these days, to Monday Night Raw. Now, I know they're entertaining, and I know in Tyler Breeze's case he's a better wrestler than his silly gimmick suggests, but when you look at that pick in strictly kayfabe terms, Kurt Angle has picked a team who never featured on SmackDown Live, therefore weren't good enough to feature on SmackDown Live, and when they did feature on SmackDown Live, they lost. Stephanie and that knife must have been salivating like Jerry Lawler at spring break, the dirty old bastard. Oh, Jesus, wept it sloth. No! Angle, you're picking all the duds, pal. You could have AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Rusev from Rusev Day, but you're picking all the numpties. What you doing, man? Oh, my tits. Kurt, man, what's the point? What did Paige and Shane do to you? Dolph Ziggler, are you dizzy blood? After seeing how Ziggler's career has spiraled down into a black hole since he made that horrible return in the arse end of last year, you might as well have filled this spot with the fabulous Moolah, who is dead and allegedly a massive prick. Better. But why on earth are you lying with Dolph Ziggler? Drew McIntyre might as well have a pig's carcass strapped to his back at this stage in the game, because at this stage of the game, Dolph Ziggler and a pig's carcass are exactly the same thing in terms of their usefulness. But that finisher combining the zigzag and the claymore kick, hit me baby one more time. Whoa. Can you tell I've had no sleep? Roman, you may ejaculate in my vagina. Goodness me, imagine taking a sign with that much smut on one bit of paper to a WWE event surrounded by the families. Samoa Joe, damn maths, they still spell disaster for you at the sacrifice. Because as we all know, Roman Reigns has not lost to Brock Lesnar every single time he stepped in the ring with Brock Lesnar, because he over there ruined one of the matches at WrestleMania 31. And by ruined, I mean made a hell of a lot better. So it turns out that Bray Wyatt, remember WrestleMania 33 when I'm talking about this point, is not the only WWE superstar with access to Windows Movie Maker and Kevin Dunn's lovely teeth. Look at the job Samoa Joe did there. This was so weirdly set up. But hey, he put those fancy cinema bars at the top and the bottom of the page and he added some dramatic music. Samoa Joe has got bare skills in the video editing department. Samoa Joe, if you want a job here at Cultaholic.com, we're actually hiring. Please apply. So Nia Jax, the literal most important superstar in WWE today, is on commentary conveying a message how she's doing this for the people who feel different, for the people who get bullied. She's standing up for everybody and being a lovely, wholesome human being. But then, roughly half an hour later, that big prick, the face of WWE, waltzes out there and calls Samoa Joe a fat ass. Well, bend me over and call me Patsy. What's the crack with that, Roman? Don't be a bully, be a star, you absolute cockweasel. Look at that, he spelled dog the wrong way around with a numpty. Round, round, get around, I get around, I get around. Isn't it nice to see big baldy bastard Baron's belly having a nice sing-song on his way to Monday Night Raw? That is a good pick, finally, Kurt Angle. But anyway, it's a surprise that the big prick Roman Reigns has not spoken to you about this yet, Finn, you fat bastard. It's still all there, pal. Get it sorted out, man, will you? The Miz and the Mr. Raj know all about Braun Strowman, do they, Maggle? Yeah, Kevin and Sami are going to get an education, are they, Maggle? Let's just forget about the fact that Braun, Kevin and Sami worked on the same shows for roughly 18 months before last year's Superstar Shake-Up, where Kevin and Sami were drafted to SmackDown Live. Quite frankly, Michael, I wish someone would draft you to hell, you tit. The Bullet Club is for everyone. Vince McMahon quite literally crapped his pants last night when the thing he's trying to suppress harder than the booze Roman Reigns blurted out of the mouth of one Corey Graves. After that slip of the tongue, Corey, I'm sure as hell that Vince McMahon has a bullet with your name on it to pop a cap in your ass. And finally, we have Kurt Angle's final pick on the night, which was boring Bobby Roode. Jesus Christ, I hope they let that man turn heel again on Raw. And of course, I've also got to mention Zack Ryder, Chad Gable, Mojo Rawley, The Ascension, Mike Kanellis, who are all also on the move. But when you take out Gable, McIntyre, Roode, and I guess Ziggler, because he's good at the grafts with his frizzy hair, isn't he? Kurt Angle, last night you had an absolute western, pal. Go to that pier and jump off in Supermare. Oh, nobody gets that. And next up we have Jonathan Coachman, who says, you see those lads in the ring there, they've all got massive egos. Will they be able to cooperate with each other? Ho ho! Michael Cole replies, which side are you talking about? Bear in mind the other team is on the outside of the ring on the bloody floor. And naturally Jonathan Coachman replies, the one in the ring, Michael. Jesus, wet Michael, you are lost cause. Yes, in that moment it seemed that Michael Cole turned into either PJ or Duncan, I can't remember which one, because I'm blind, Michael, I'm blind! And even with the Superstar Shake-Up in full swing and Raw's roster fatter than Jack the Jobber's cock on a bus down to the zoo, Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas are still in the main event of WWE Raw. And that is it for all of your WTF moments from this week's Superstar Shake-Up edition of WWE Raw. I'll leave you with a thought that we now have Drew McIntyre, Jinder Mahal and Heath Slater on the same roster once again. Oh, me balls are tingling. I've been Ross from Cultaholic.com. Thank you once again for being a sexual wank fest. If you want to follow me on the Twitter machine, follow me at Ross on Laston. If you like what we do here at Cultaholic.com, pledge to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Cultaholic. Anything you can afford to give us is greatly appreciated and will be retitivated back into the company to make more of the content for your viewing pleasure. But most importantly of all, do not forget to join us on every form of social media apart from the Wind Up Radio.